You put your, going to ask that we put your speaker on mute. That way we don't have any background noise until we get to the part of questions. Then we'll open it up for questions. All right. Go ahead.
My connection is really unstable, so if all of a sudden I disappear, I'm glad you're recording it, but it's really, really unstable. So
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Sure. And remember, there's a chat at the bottom. So if you have anything you want to ask or whatever, until we get to the question part, feel free to put it in the chat.
Yeah, and Mel, we'll try to man the chat for you so you don't feel like you have to be looking over there all the time too, if that helps.
Yeah, so what I was thinking is
I want to introduce you too.
I would just do the 20 minutes and then open it up for questions. So if we can hold questions till the end of the 20 minutes. And then I need to share my screen.
You should be able to, or are you not able to?
So I'm going to do that right now. And then you tell me if you see, hang on just a second.
I'm going to introduce you before we get started too.
Okay. Yep. So you let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
And then I'll share.
Okay. So first I want to say that when I got started, I went to NAPO and looked up any organizers in the state of Indiana. I saw Melinda because my full name is Melinda, or my birth name. Well, it was actually my birth name anyway. Because I was adopted, in case you're wondering, how is that not a birth name? And I saw Melinda, and so I reached out to her, and my conversation with her would have dictated if I stayed in this business or not. But because she was so lovely and kind to me, I think it made the difference if I stayed in this business or not. And she said, I would love to talk to you. Let's meet for coffee. And I was like, oh, she's nice and she's willing to meet with me. And oh my goodness, I couldn't have asked for a nicer person to be the first professional organizer that I ever talked to. We met for coffee. She asked me to join her on a job that she had, and she was just so supportive and encouraging, and I couldn't have asked for a nicer person. And then she told me about how she wanted to get a group together, and she started the meetings. It was not me. It was Melinda. She started the meetings and got people together monthly. And this is how this all started. She is the one. But her business was really growing. She was starting to do the coaching. And so she basically handed the baton over to me and said, would you consider, moving forward with this and get it going, keep it going, basically. So that's how it started. So Angela and I together then kept the baton going. So that's how this all started. In case you think it was me, it was actually Melinda Miller. And sometimes she goes by Mel. But anyway, I wanted to first tell you that, because I think some people that have just joined later on don't know that, but it was her. So she's the one who got this ball rolling. And then Angela and I kept it going, and Angela came to Indiana and she was like, hey, I know how this works. There she is in the car. She goes, I know how this works. I've done this in other states. So, she was the one that came alongside and really kind of got me going as well. So, I have to give shout out to Angela as well. So that's what got things. It's teamwork. It's all of us working together as a team. So that's something I want to say. So anyway, Melinda is an intuitive life coach now. That's something that she has started. She'll probably talk a little bit about that as well. And she's helping clients overcome fear and step into their power. As a consultant, she helps clients launch home organizing businesses in Central Indiana. As a professional organizer, she works, make sure I'm reading this right, with clients both personal and virtually, and is founder of the Little University of My MO. She's created content that supports her work and helps the public run their homes like a business and their business feel like a home. As a member of NAPO since 2015, she's a leader of the Holistic Organizers Special Interest Group and ambassador for Indiana and Kentucky. And this month, she's here to share her wisdom with us about all things NAPO and how to fully utilize this organization, which I think a lot of us are not fully organizing or using, as well as myself, and how to take advantage of the membership, whether you're a member or not, and if you're thinking about joining, how to best utilize it. So I'm going to stop and let her take over.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And can you see that okay? Okay, so let me get rid of this.
It's trying to come through. It hasn't come through yet on my end.
It hasn't come through? Okay. How about now?
Yes, there we go.
Okay, great. Okay, so in sort of preparing for this, NAPO's got so much going on. And I'm aware that there's probably people that aren't part of NAPO or maybe on the fence with NAPO. So I decided to just start with the basic sort of NAPO prior to logging in and using this as a guide to sort of walk you through. And so that's what I'm going to be doing for the next 20 minutes. And then when it's time for question and answer, we'll go into the sign-in side and I can walk anybody through that or answer any questions that you might have. And if there are no questions, then I can kind of show you some things on the back end. But we're going to just kind of stay here on the surface and we're going to start. First, I'm going to start my timer and then we're going to start with the about. So in this hyperlink, we start with sort of the basics around NAPO, where it started, how it started. It basically started back in the 80s with a group of women coming together in a living room and sort of collectively creating what we have now, which is over 3,200 members. So it's got a really rich, deep history. And I think it's just kind of fun to go in and see where we started and where we are now. The governance is, I think, the thing that ties us together the most. It talks about the bylaws and the code of ethics. And I think both of those are really important to read and understand because when you become a part of NAPO and represent yourself as a NAPO member, you are following those code of ethics. And so it's important to know, what you're doing and what you're committing to. The antitrust policy is really important to understand because it sort of makes sure that we're not blocking out or illegally crowding people out of services by agreeing to certain fees and making sure that everybody in the community has the opportunity to take advantage of our services. So not discussing pricing when we come together as NAPO members is really important. And then the We Believe statement sort of covers NAPO in its diversity and equity and inclusion. So it's important to sort of read that and become familiar with it. And then if you want to put that information on your own website, the language is there for you to use. Now, NAPO is a nonprofit, but it does have, I think, 9 paid full and part-time positions. And so knowing who the staff is and who's responsible for each individual part of NAPO, you can find that information here. But when you come back to the governance part, there is a board of directors. And there are basically 4 officer positions. There's the president, the past president, and then you also have the secretary and what's the other one? President, and vice president. Yeah, and president, past president, secretary, and vice president. And then you also have 7 directors. And these are all volunteer positions. So going in, knowing who those directors are on the board and sort of what they cover is also something that I think is really helpful as you navigate NAPO and what it's about and the website. So to become a member of NAPO, there's all these different memberships that you can have, but we're going to focus mostly on the provisional and the professional. So when you join NAPO, everyone sort of joins as a provisional member. And that covers both productivity and organizing. But I think it's really important to understand that within the umbrella of productivity and in the umbrella, under the umbrella of organizing, there's all different types of things that fit. So for instance, organizing isn't just about going into people's homes and organizing their things. You can be of service to those people in many different ways. You can help them organize their finances. You can help them organize, you know, what they have online or their emails or, you know, their computers. You can support them in lots of different ways under that organizing umbrella. And the same with productivity. You can be of service to them running errands or helping them be more productive. And it's not necessarily just the productivity umbrella. So when you're thinking about your own business and what fits, please expand that and think about how your business might fit into the NAPO brand. So now we come down to changing the NAPO memberships. So as I stated, you start in the provisional, oh, I have a cat that, okay, down. You start as a provisional member, and then you take 3 basic core classes. Let's see if we can find those. I don't see those right now. I think it's here. You take these basic 3 core classes, and once you jump into those, you change the status of your membership from provisional to professional. And these core classes are described right here. So we have the fundamental organizing and productivity principles class, and that basically covers the principles behind basic organizing and productivity. The next one covers the basic skills, again, under organizing and productivity. And the last one covers your ethics. And I think that these are the 3 things that really tie us together as NAPO members. And that's why these 3 core classes are so important. Once you jump in and start taking other classes, you can go in a whole different group of ways, a whole different way. But these 3 core classes are something that we all have in common once we take them. So again, it's kind of one of those ties that bind. So under the NAPO membership, you're going to find information about chapters. And these chapters are provided by the support of NAPO for each individual state. I'm sorry, we got these new cats. And this one is decided for the first time ever. We've had them just a little over a week to jump on my desk during a presentation, of course. But chapters are groups of people. You have to have at least 30 people come together, and they're divided by state. And it's just a way for people to kind of come together and connect. Indiana does not have a chapter. That is something that I think we would all like to see happen. But if you're interested in sort of learning about the chapters and what states do have chapters, you'll find it under this hyperlink. And then of course, there's something called the virtual chapter, and it doesn't matter where you live, you can join that chapter and meet virtually. The nice thing about these chapters is NAPO will allow you to be part of your state chapter and the virtual chapter. And there are quite a few people that are members of both. Another benefit of NAPO is the special interest groups. And these are groups of like-minded people that come together and go through and connect on a monthly basis. They're also called SIGs. So if you've heard the term SIG, that's what it means, special interest groups. And there's things like authorship and publishing and business organizing and productivity, coaching, etc. Now, each of these have a different set of standards in order to join. So this isn't about helping you publish your first book. This is about people coming together that are published writers and have already published books, and they're coming together to sort of support each other. So there are certain criteria that you need to meet in order to join each one of these SIGs. And on the back end, you can access that and find out what that criteria is. And all of them require being a member of NAPO for a certain amount of time. So once you join NAPO, your membership is locked in, and that starts your anniversary date. And that's the date where a lot of these SIGs look at and say that you have to belong for some long before you can join them. Okay, so coming back out, the business partner hyperlink really just talks about business partners that are affiliated with NAPO. And if you're curious about those, they are located in there. And a lot of times, if you are interested in things like photo organizing or working with seniors, these business partners really align with NAPO and just give you an extra layer of information and connecting you to other like-minded groups of people. Every year, NAPO has a conference. This year, it happened virtually. Last year, unfortunately, it was canceled. And next year's conference is located, that information is located right here. Here's the dates, the location, and the hotel, and then more information will be available in the future. But if you decide that you want to go to conference next year and you want to pre-plan for that, that's where you'll find that information. The education piece for NAPO is really, I think, one of the greatest benefits of being a member. A lot of people have referred to the education through NAPO as very similar to getting a mini MBA. It's just really great stuff, and it comes to us in lots of different forms. The two biggest are the classes that are created specifically for NAPO's online courses, and then the conferences tape their classes, and you can access those as well, even if you're not able to attend conference, or you're attending conference and there are two classes going on at the same time that you're interested in. You can actually access the class that you weren't able to attend through these online courses. And the way the courses are labeled tells you whether it's a conference recording or something specifically created for NAPO. And that's important if you are interested in it and you think, wow, that sounds familiar. If you attended the conference, then you can go back and say, wow, yeah, I really did. I already took this class. And so I don't need to take it again for this special certificate or my CPO because I was actually there. We are going to skip over the professional practices coursework and go to the specialist certificates. So NAPO has organized all their information into buckets. And I really like this because it can be overwhelming otherwise to kind of figure out what classes do you want to take and what do you want to learn. So they have taken all of their classes and streamlined them. So if you're interested in, for instance, brain-based conditions like ADD or ADHD and how it impacts the brain, you can take this line of classes and actually earn a certificate and learn everything you need to know that NAPO provides. You don't have to go in and figure it out yourself. they've got it all organized for you. And there's team productivity and household management. So all of that information is right here on their main page. The logging into NAPO University can be hard to find on the back end. So a lot of times, especially if you're just burning through the classes and you just want to quickly access them, you can just come right here to the main page, go to education, come down to log in, and it'll take you right to that section of the website that covers, you know, everything NAPO. The professional practices and coursework sort of aligns those classes as well. So if you are really interested in just really organizing with people in their homes, you can follow that track. Or if you're really interested in organizing for productivity, you can follow that track. Or if you just really want to hone in on how to run a business, because a lot of us want to organize, but on the back end, running the business can be a real challenge. And so that's, you know, you can come in here and find that track. These don't give you necessarily certificates, but again, it's just another way for you to find the information that that you need in order to educate yourself in a specific way. We're not going to talk a lot about certification because this is something that's a little bit advanced, but certification is a huge deal in NAPO, and it's really exciting. This is board certification. It's very intense. There's a lot to it, but if you are the type of person that likes certification and wants to get certified, it's never too late to go in and start looking at that. The handbooks here, the people that are on the board are here, the staff that support the certification can be found here. And then also, if you are out there and you run across somebody who says they're board certified and they're not, this is where that can be reported. Because this is on the main face page, any potential client can come in, go to the NAPO website, look up all the current professional organizers that are certified and report them if they have been solicited as a board certified NAPO organizer or productivity specialist, and they're not. How to become certified can be found here. Where to take the tests and when they're offered can be found here. To maintain that certification requires a yearly fee, so that information is here. You have to recertify every, and I'm sorry, I don't know how many years that is, but the recertification information is here. If you retire from NAPO or retire from the work, but you want to keep the certification, that information is here. And then, like I said earlier, all the current organizers that have achieved this can be found here. This resources area is really great because it's full of information that can sort of help you decide whether or not you want to be an organizer. And it's chock full of really great information that I find helpful in even marketing. So I think it's worth going in and taking and reading through that. The research area is sort of a call out to connecting with people who are actually doing research in our arena. And then the statistics, is where you can find cold hard facts around organizing and productivity. The media kit is there for connecting to the media, or if the media wants to contact us. The blog is really fantastic and full of lots of great information. And if you want to submit a blog post, you would put your submission here. And then if you haven't tuned into the podcast, seriously, you don't know what you're missing. This is absolutely free. It's available to the public. You don't have to be a NAPO member. And when I say the content is rich and full and worth your time, I mean it. It is an amazing podcast. Really, really fantastic. Not only for organizers and productivity specialists, but anybody that's a business owner. You will find, not every podcast is relevant, but you will find some really great information. So I highly recommend that you look at this. And in the last couple of minutes, I think it's just really important to think about the organizing and productivity sort of professionalism as a whole. Really, there's nothing that keeps people from rolling out of bed, their feet hit the ground, they stand up and announce, from here on out, I am going to call myself a professional organizer. There are no industry standards or laws that prevent somebody from doing this. And if you've ever worked with a client who had a bad experience with an organizer, you'll understand just how important this group is. These ethics and the guidance and the support that you'll get from this group is absolutely amazing. And there's nothing out there that I think compares to the support you can get through being a member of NAPO. So I want you to think about that as you're sort of moving forward and looking at the resources. And I am going to now open this up. I'm going to open this up for questions. I can't see the board because I'm going to keep this sort of open, but you know, does anybody have any questions, or would you like for me to go to the back end?
I'll just share a little thing that I discovered a couple years ago. There was a organizer out of a nearby small town. She was not a member of NAPO. I have no idea if she'd taken any of the classes, but I was looking at her website once because somebody asked me if I knew her. She had copied the ethics word for word from the NAPO website, and like a couple other sections of the NAPO website, copied them word for word on her own website, but wasn't even a NAPO member. And I was kind of incensed. I'm like, seriously? I don't even know if you abide by them because clearly you're plagiarizing. So anyways, and also I did hear, like, at some point, someone described it to me that anyone can call themselves like a personal organizer. But until you're a member of NAPO and take some of the classes, you shouldn't call yourself a professional organizer. And then, of course, after you pass certification, then you can call yourself certified. So I don't know if that's actually it, but anybody who's been in the business long enough will know that it helps if you're getting classes and education and your experience. And I had a gal that was teaching classes here at a local place. She was not certified. It was or even a member of NAPO. And she was not giving out the best information. She wasn't super professional. And it was just really hard. A number of people contacted me and had already worked with her. And so they were skeptical of if I could even do a good job because she hadn't done a good job. And so I really had to like make the case for them to try again and to give someone else a chance. So
yeah, I think unfortunately we don't know what we don't know. And you know, I started organizing 3 years before I joined NAPO. Because I didn't know that I could be a member without experience. So there's a lot that we don't know, and each layer of understanding and education sort of opens up another layer of depth and quality that we can provide to our peers and to our clients. It's just so important. But I'm glad you brought up the membership of NAPO, because I forgot to mention this, I think, because it was happening when my cat was jumping on my desk. But when you are a provisional member of NAPO, you're not going to show up here on Find a Pro. You don't show up until you take those 3 core classes and have the professional, earn that professional
Designate.
label or status. So, and I kind of skipped over this because I meant to bring it up later, but how to hire a professional organizer has great information that you can use in your marketing. And then the professional directory, you can find people and your clients can find people, but only the ones that have taken those 3 classes and changed their membership from, this cat, from provisional to professional.
I was going to bring that up, so I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
until you're a professional, then once you become that, you can also use the logo on your website or any of those places, which is nice.
Yes, absolutely. And it may not matter to all of your clients that you are a member of NAPO. Some may not be concerned at all, but I do think that it identifies you. And just the extra support. I've run into and worked with other organizers that aren't part of NAPO. And some of the things, and I've gone in after, and worked in homes where the previous organizer wasn't a member of NAPO. And just some of the things that were done and said, and some of the ways things were handled, it probably could have been avoided for these organizers. I'm sure they're good people and they're trying, but like I said, we don't know what we don't know. And the other thing I want to mention too is sometimes we get with clients that aren't a good fit for us or are really difficult. And as an entrepreneur or solopreneur, that can be really lonely and it can be really hard. So being with other people that are going through the same thing and have gone through the same thing can be super helpful. I know a few years ago, I had a really bad experience and I didn't even have to reach out to anyone. I just read some old posts. I kind of typed in, difficult client and read some of the stories other people had shared. And it just immediately elevated me from down here, like scum toilet water is where I was feeling, to back up to, this is normal. This was out of your control. Things just do happen. And it was that support that helped me move forward, because seriously, I was like almost at my wit's end, because it can be really, really hard. This business can be really hard. So having that connection, I think, is really important.
Melinda, can you talk about point and how people ask questions and then others chime in and answer that? Because that's a very wonderful part of NAPO and having that ability.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do now is we're going to flip over to the website that you see once you become a member and you can sign in. Okay. So you have the ability to create and manage your profile. And then some of the things that are available only to NAPO members is called Point. And it is absolutely, bar none, one of the best things about NAPO. And you can access this whether you're a provisional member or a professional member. So in order to get into Point, a lot of people say you have to sign in. Now, I'm already signed in, but I have to sign in again here in order to access Point. So now I've signed in, you see my little icon. it's set up to automatically sign in for me. The sign is in to get to the back part of NAPO and to sign on Point are the same username and password. So the credentials don't change, but you do have to sign in, make sure you're signed in when you come to Point. So I can post a message here if I have a question for someone. I can go to Member Connect, which sort of takes me to the place where questions are posted. And they're here. And then there's a whole library. Once these are posted, they go into a library and you can go back years and access old information. So when you read, people say, well, this has already been talked about, several times. This is how you access it. You put in the question and you type it in, and then you have the ability to change the date to get the most current information, or if you want older information, if you want to see how things have evolved, you have control of all of that. When you come into Point, it's divided by communities. Here are my communities because of the things that I'm participating in and my engagement. So you have the option when you're posting to post to everyone, or if I just have a question for other ambassadors, I can post that question here. Or if I want to talk to Golden Circle members, which are people that have been with NAPO 5 years or longer, I want to really talk to the experienced ones, I can post my question to this group and so on. So it's a really great area. And like I said, I think one of the biggest benefits of being a NAPO member is being able to access Point. Does anybody have any questions about Point or how Point works?
You've just taught me how I didn't know I could break it out like that. That would be helpful. I didn't realize that.
Well, it depends, Mindy. So what's started and what's part of the ambassador program is the very first year that you're a member of NAPO, you have access to those other folks as well. And so you can talk to them. And then after that year, your first year rolls off, unless you belong to other groups, your only option is going to be Point. So, and that's the Point that everyone uses. So if you've been a member for longer than a year, but you're not part of a SIG or anything else, your only option may be the Point. You'll have to go in and just look and see if you have access to any of the other ones. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
But I do love, Point is great. Even my emails that I get, I'll scan down and there's great questions, have you dealt with this or that? And I just learn reading other people's questions, so much. It's great. And then flipping back to the podcast, just, oh my gosh, those are great. And I need to get back to listening to those again. I mainly listen to them in the summer when I'm on a drive, because that just seems to be convenient, but I need to listen to those as well. But there's so many wonderful marketing podcasts, just educational, informative, great podcasts. So I do highly recommend those. Emily, I see your hands up.
I just want to share, I've been a member since 2003. I went to my first conference in Chicago. I was just saving every penny that I made, and I stayed with a friend and then drove in. But going to conference and even NAPO now, it's just nothing like back in 2002. I mean, conference is still amazing. Conference was amazing then. I learned so much. I felt like my learning curve was just straight up. And I will say, for anybody that's on the fence or thinking about conference, it's not just what you learn in the sessions, because you can listen to those, on NAPO education. it's the relationships that you make. It's the conversations you have sitting at a table over lunch. All those different things are so enriching. But NAPO now has so much more. It's amazing the resources that are available to new and veteran organizers. They've really improved the ways to connect, and especially for those of us that are in Indiana without a chapter, or I mean, now we kind of do. I call this, it's almost a chapter. But at any rate, that was my plug, and there's so much available. It's awesome to see how they've grown and adapted and met the needs of the people that need it.
I completely agree. And I also want to remind everyone that, we have 3,200 members, we have 9 paid employees, and the rest are volunteers. It's amazing to me what people can pull off, in volunteer positions, and how important volunteering and being engaged is. So if you have the time, I really encourage you to heed the call and get involved in some way, form, or fashion as a volunteer. And now I want to kind of flip back to conference real quick. Going to conference, I was only able to attend one, and then I was signed up for the next one, and COVID hit and it was canceled. And then I wasn't able to do this year's virtual conference. So I've only been to one, but it was really kind of scary and really kind of intimidating. And there are things that NAPO is doing to really help with that. And one is you can sign up to have a conference buddy, and based on your answers from a survey, they'll make sure that maybe you're with somebody one-on-one. And so that conference buddy will be your buddy to hang out with you during meals, or share a room with you, or just have meetups and sort of walk you through things. But if you remember that the majority of the people there are not only there to meet other people, but a lot of them are there for the first time. And so you do get used to just walking up to a group of people and saying, hi, can I sit at your table during my meal? And people are kind and open and friendly. And it's just really an amazing experience. So I encourage you to, if you're an introvert like I am, to go ahead and push through that and take advantage of the buddy system that is set up, and just know that NAPO is here to support you in any way, shape, or form. Also, prior to conference, people that don't have a roommate, someone will create a spreadsheet and you can put your name in there, and then all of a sudden you have a roommate. People that want to ride share from the airport, you put your airline information in there. And I rode with complete strangers from the airport. We did a ride share. It cost very little money to get to the hotel, and I met new friends. And so as I would see them throughout the NAPO conference, it's like, hey, ride share buddy. It just was really a fantastic experience all the way around.
Okay, is there anything else on the site that we want to share while we're recording, and for people to learn more on the site? That you think would be important for us to know?
I don't think so. I think that everything, on this end, the point was the thing that I really wanted to point out as being the big thing that kind of stands out at this point, especially if you're new to NAPO or don't know a lot about NAPO. A lot of the other stuff can be a little bit, overwhelming. I mean, there's, networking and resources, engagement. There's a lot of things, but I think that for the basics, you really can find most of what you need just hanging out without even signing in. I think that's the easiest way to access the information. So that's the thing I really wanted to it's all in layers. And I think that first layer has been represented.
Emily, you raised your hand. Let me go.
I absolutely love the NAPO University and the education. A lot of the classes are like $15. And if you're going for your certification or renewing, you cannot find a better value. And you can take them they're on demand, so you can take them anytime it's convenient for you. But so I have an ongoing client. She is a compulsive shopper, the most extreme I've ever worked with. And I got several books from the library, and I also was able to find an old conference recording by the author of one of the best well-known books. And I listened to that, and it just had some great information. So I would say, if you have a difficult client, or if there's a specific area that you want to focus on, or that even a new client that you think, oh, I need to like brush up on something here, there's just some great content in there that is easy and affordable to take advantage of.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because there's a couple of things I want to share about the courses and how they're listed and how they're organized, which I think is really neat and I didn't really realize in the beginning. First of all, OD means that it's an on-demand course. It was created specifically for NAPO. CR, which I'm sure we'll find, CR means it's a conference recording. So it was recorded at conference. And again, that I think is really important in case you've gone to conferences, to sort of keep track of what you attended. Of course, you can listen to it again or hear it again. But if you've already paid for the course once, you may want to spend your time and energy, in a different direction. The numbers are represent the different tracks, and then the actual numbers like 312, 313, everything is just put in order. But like the number 3 would represent your level of experience. So they may have classes that are appropriate for everyone. Everyone would benefit. They have classes that are appropriate for people that are just brand new, and they have classes that are appropriate for people with 1 to 5 years experience, over 5 years experience. And so that is all indicated in the numbers and the numbering system. So I thought that was really great, so that as you're going through and choosing your classes, this sort of helps you identify what you want to do. But they're also listed out. You can find everything within the tract, and then there's a worksheet that you can, I don't know if it's going to let me open it, but there's a worksheet that you can follow, and it will tell you how many classes you need in order to achieve that worksheet, gain that certificate. And then you can kind of choose which classes interest you or align with the work that you want to do.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. I think we'll go ahead and end this portion of the educational, and I'll go over some updates of next month's planned schedule.